Yeah, so I was on the aspect of investment. We are saying that it is total spending on goods that will be used, okay, in the future to produce what? Even more goods. So we have to take note of that. Please, that is the proper definition for investment. Okay, and it includes spending on capital investments. Okay, when we talk about capital investment, we are talking about machines, tools, devices, okay, which will be used to produce more goods in future. And then it also includes includes structures, okay, structures like factories, office building, houses, okay, which will serve as premises, okay, for production. Then we also talk about inventories, okay, where we are looking at goods produced but are not yet being sold. So for example, here we're talking about we produce cars, okay, in 2010, okay, but in 2010, even though we produced 200 cars, only 100 were sold. The remaining 100 are going to be captured in inventories as an investment, okay? It's going to be captured as an inventory, okay, or as an inventory, okay, as an investment. So it will be captured in the GDP as an investment activity. Then, yeah, just to stress on this, I'm saying that take note that investment does not mean purchase of financial assets like stocks and bonds, okay, when it comes to what GDP for the state. Take note of that. Then once again, we have what we refer to as government spending, which is G in the equation. So when we talk about government spendings, we are talking about all resources purchased by the government sector, okay, are unavailable for consumption or investment purposes, okay? So sometimes funds are being released to the regional level, funds are released to a particular sector, okay? Funds are released to the local government level, okay? Just to resource, for example, to pay workers and etc. Okay, these are not for consumption or investment purposes. Okay, these all fall under government spending. And then finally, we have exports. Okay, and when we talk about export, we are talking about in the equation we have net exports. So exports are goods and services sold to foreign buyers. Okay, so we can generate income. Then imports are goods and services purchased from foreign sources. Okay, so where your import, okay, exceed your exports, then we are going to get a negative value, okay, for your expenditure. But where your export is going to exceed what your X is going to exceed your IM, then we are going to get a positive value, which is going to be included in the GDP. Okay, so in other words, where our imports are more than our export, then GDP goes down. Okay, but where we export more than import, okay, then our GDP what comes down. Okay, and then in other words, okay, let's stay there. I want us to go systematic. Okay, so we are saying that exports are added to GDP and imports are what subtracted. Okay, so net exports are the value of exports minus what? The value of imports. Yeah, so in basic terms, we are saying that GDP are always distributed in the forms to household in the form of disposable incomes, incomes we can dispose of. We have to businesses in the form of retail earnings and depreciation allowances, and to government in the form of what? Taxes, okay? Good. Now, the next thing we want to look at is the concept of real versus nominal GDP, okay? Now, when we talk about real and nominal GDP, what are we talking about? We are saying that inflation, economic variables like inflation can distort variables like GDP. So we have two versions of the GDP. The first version is the nominal GDP, okay, which takes into consideration the current prices, okay, or value output using what? Current prices. And this is not correlated with what? Inflation. So inflation does not what come into play here. Then we talk about real GDP. In real GDP, we are talking about estimating output values using what? The prices of base year. Okay, so we select a base year to correct or we take into consideration the effect of inflation, okay, over the years. So we can compare what the GDP of one year to another. Okay, yeah, it's very important. So we're going to, our focus is to look at how to estimate what our nominal GDP as well as the real GDP. Okay, so before I proceed, if there are any questions you can ask, then we start the calculations. If there's any question you want to ask, you can ask at this point. Just raise up your hand. You can raise up your hand if you have any question. Okay, if there are no questions, let me proceed with my presentation. So we have a data here which I copied from one material online. Okay, we are supposed to, so we have two products which are being produced. We have the pizza and the lead for various years, and we are to estimate, we have for 3 years, that's 2011, 2012. Let me make use of my marker now. Okay, so I have for 2011, 2012, and 2013. Okay, so we have the price. We are giving the price and then the quantity. So P represents the price, okay, and the quantity of pizza that is sold or that is produced within the year, okay. And then we also have another product, which is the lead. Okay, we have the price and the quantity. Okay, and we have to find the nominal GDP in each year. So to find the nominal GDP,